What's up, everybody? Brian Tong here, and we know that the iPad Air is out. You can get it today. And so, I hit up my friends at Apple and said, let's do something. They're like, yeah, let's definitely do something. So what I did is I brought a rep from Apple as well as two creators because we really want to talk about what this iPad is capable of. A lot of times we see, oh, you could web surf, you could watch movies, you could do email, but there's a lot of things that I've learned by just seeing how people do things differently. So in the house, to kind of create this, I guess, roundtable, or I'm going to call it a quad stream, we've got Miss Katie McDonald, iPad product marketing manager. Hi, Katie. What's up?
Hey, Brian. Thanks for having me.
Thank you so much for being here. And then we also have creators galore here, Miss Abigail Bixler, digital creator. Hi, Abigail.
Hi, how are you?
Doing good. Thanks so much for coming out here. And then we also
Thank you for
have Noah
having me.
Herman. Oh, thank you. Thank you. And then we also have Noah Herman here, another creator. What's up, Noah?
Hey, what's going on? Nice to be here.
Yes, sir. So we're gonna have our creators kind of jump in a little bit, but I'm gonna put Katie on the hot seat first. Not really a hot seat, but we wanted to talk about the iPad Air because even from the fourth generation, I've called it like the nearly perfect iPad. And you guys have now added the M1, you've added 5G, you've added the ultra wide camera for center stage. So you guys listen to what users are talking about. So I was just curious, as you guys were developing the iPad Air, what were you hearing from your audience and how did you respond?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I'm super excited to be here to talk about iPad Air. So again, thank you for having us.
Thank
And
you.
of course, we're always listening to what customers want. And when we were looking at how people were using iPad Air, right? People love the iPad Air for being super thin, super light, and super powerful. These are folks who are stepping up from the entry to do even more on iPad, to be creative, to be productive. So when we thought about updating the iPad Air, we thought, what better thing to do than to bring the M1 chip to iPad Air, to put that productivity and to put that increase in performance from its predecessor into the hands of so many users. So we're really excited. We think that it's just going to appeal to a really wide range of different types of users.
Obviously the M1 is kind of like the big, oh, dang, they put an M1 in iPad Air. I think everyone, when the actual announcement was made, was like, okay, they're not playing around here. I'm just curious. We know that Apple, as you guys develop products, you see things way ahead of time. And I'm just wondering, what was, because it's already out there, so it's no secret. Was the M1 actually like the intention from your product roadmap? Or I know things change, but did you guys always say, you know what, we're going to bring the M1 to the iPad Air, for this model? Did you know that even, I guess a couple of years ago?
Yeah, so when we thought about bringing the M1 to iPad Air, we took a look at the predecessor. Like I said, looked at how people were using it, and we knew that bringing M1 to this product was going to introduce just this massive leap in performance versus its predecessor. That 8-core CPU is introducing a 60% increase in performance. That GPU is introducing up to 2 times faster graphics. So it was really thinking about how people were using iPad Air, and we knew that the M1 was just going to be a really great fit for those customers. So we have planned to bring it, and we're really excited to finally introduce it to the world.
Excellent. Okay, so now we have our awesome creators here. First of all, I just want to say, as a fellow creator, thanks, Noah and Abigail, for spending time here, because it's a hustle, it's passion, it's love, but it's so cool to be able to do this stuff. So, Abigail, we're gonna get to you in a moment, but I'm gonna start off with Noah here, because Noah, could you maybe tell the audience a little bit about yourself and your perspective as a creator and what type of content you like to create?
Yeah, sure. Well, to kind of give you a like initial perspective, I've always sort of watched you guys, you, Marquez, and others, and I decided to try it out myself. I had no idea that things would go the way they did, and thankfully, in about mid 2019, when iPad Pro was at its sort of height in popularity, because it was such a revolutionary product at the time, I bought one at the right time and talked about iPad OS, I think 13. And people really liked that. And I was like, all right, I will continue to share my thoughts on it as a student and also as a creator. And I was fortunate enough to sort of ride that wave. And I've been producing iPad and other Apple content since then. So that is why I'm here today. And I really appreciate you bringing me on.
Oh man, I love, for people that haven't checked it out, the student perspective is unique. In this space where there's a lot of creators competing and doing content that speaks true to them, that's why I thought like your content is unique. So I know, as a treat for people that are watching, I said, hey, I would love these creators to showcase kind of some of the things they do, because, we all use iPads differently, quite honestly. So I know you're kind of going to show me some stuff. I have no idea what you're going to show me, just so people at home are like, oh, this is all rehearsed. This ain't rehearsed. I have no idea what you're going to do, Noah. So be careful what you show me in your photo gallery. Okay.
Yeah, that was a worry of mine.
I'm just
Oh,
messing
man.
around. Okay.
Yeah,
But
well,
Noah, I'm gonna give you the floor, and just
yeah.
kind of maybe give us a little insight into what you do on your iPad.
Yeah, absolutely here. And I usually do demos, like recorded. So like if I mess up, forgive me here. So let me start screen sharing for you. So let me go home. So as a student, iPad has sort of replaced a piece of paper for me. I in high school used to write with paper and pen, and I didn't like it. I didn't like it one bit. So, switching to the iPad, especially with the Apple Pencil 2nd Gen, is just a real treat. And I love how it is attached to the iPad, because as a pretty scrambled person, I would lose the 1st gen. It would be gone. It would evaporate into the air. So the fact that it's charged and on my iPad at all times is great. But yeah, getting to that sort of piece of paper aspect, I use the iPad as an annotation device. So here is an example of something I recently annotated this year. This is some finance homework. I can't explain it to you, unfortunately. I had some help from some friends, but as you can see here, I wrote in the answers from sort of the textbook questions. And my teacher has us do this because he doesn't want people cheating. So people will normally scan a piece of paper and send it to his Dropbox, but I fortunately can, copy and paste the questions, export this to a PDF onto my iPad, and then just go to town and just write in some stuff. I'm not going to write anything live because I literally don't understand some of this stuff. But I
What's your professor's name, Noah? What's your professor's name?
I'm not gonna say. I mean, you know what?
Okay,
He's super cool, Professor Padrum. If you're watching this,
Yeah, there you go.
I'm
There
so
you go.
sorry. But anyway, so this is some finance homework. Yeah. The other app that I like to use is GoodNotes, and I have some things as examples here. This is sort of an example of inline notes that I do, sort of like actual note taking that I used to do in like a notebook. So this is for a history class. This was a little earlier on in the semester. I could be a little bit better about taking notes, but when I do, I take them here like this. And also too, what's great about GoodNotes and other note-taking apps on iPad is you can drag in photos here in sort of in line with your handwritten text. I can actually give you an example of creating a new notebook. Recently, I have been planning my courses for the fall. I kind of have to strategically do that to make sure that I can create content as well as go to school. It's a real mess. But anyway, we can choose here sort of a title or a cover for my notebook. I can also choose a different piece of paper. I'll go with ruled narrow, and we can actually use the Apple Pencil to use the scribble feature. So I can do a write here, really horrible handwriting, course planning. And it's amazing because I have horrific handwriting, and somehow the iPad with scribble can
I wasn't going to criticize your handwriting.
No,
I
I'm
let
going
you say
to.
that.
I'm
I didn't
going
want to
to.
say it.
Yeah.
I let you say that.
You didn't say anything. You didn't say anything. So here we are, and I can actually, of course, open up a Safari instance and look at some of the courses that I have to bid on at the University of Michigan. By the way, I am a student. Some people question that. Like this is a struggle. So people
Go
try
blue.
to appropriate that. Right. Okay. Thank you. Appreciate it. So so here's some of the courses that I have to bid for as a senior. So if I want to sort of have this in my note, I can take a screenshot here and of course crop that. So we can do this. I can crop out Safari, and then of course I can save that to my photos. And what's really neat about GoodNotes is I can go to the photo add thing and just drag that in. So here it is. I can move that over here. I can also sort of circle things and emphasize things, and also make a little note, maybe like prioritize. Look at how horrible my handwriting is.
It's beautiful.
Oh, thank you so much. You're lying. Prioritize TO 300 plus BE 300. So I have to make sure that I get these courses at a specific time so I can have my courses on Tuesdays and Thursdays. So I have the rest of the week to make content. So that's GoodNotes for you. Love this. And when I do actually take notes, this is the app that I use. But beyond schoolwork, obviously, I am a content creator. And what I love about the iPad is it's such a portable, small device. Of course, I use other Apple products, but this is something I can just slip in a bag and also to connect, a USB-C dongle here. As you can see, I have one with an SD card in there. So if I take photos with my camera, I use the Alpha 1. It's a really crazy camera. It can capture like 50 megapixel raw images. I can import them here and I can look and see what I've done. So this is some stuff that I took earlier in the year with a friend in Ann Arbor. We were doing a photo shoot for his birthday. So you can scroll through here, import them, and view them very quickly. The USB-C port, I think, is 2 times faster, Katie, right? And that definitely helps with file transfer. Yeah, so I can put any files that I want on my iPad and then import them into apps like Lightroom. And Lightroom is a great photo editing tool. And as you can see here, I can even show you, see, I got the sus photos in the bottom part, Brian, like of my friends. There's like, we did like it's true. So anyway, let me get back to the demo. If I tap on the I in the bottom corner here, as you can see here, we got Sony ILCE 85 mil. This is a really high resolution image and it's raw, but I'm able to, make edits to this and also export right onto my iPad. So this is a picture of the State Theater in Ann Arbor. It's a really great student spot and it's just gorgeous. And the fact that I can do all this photo editing is really, really great. And of course, the M1 chip is great for handling big files like this. And of course, beyond photo editing, I like to do some video editing. And recently, or last year, I went to New York City and took a lot of great photos and videos with my iPhone. And I didn't bring a device, but I really wish I would have brought something like an iPad Air, because as you can see here, I just dropped in a lot of these great clips here, just right in line into this timeline. And what's great with LumaFusion is you can actually stack clips. So you can transition in. And not only that, you can also look at the color sort of profile of a clip. So I can adjust stuff like contrast, I can color grade, I can do a lot of really advanced stuff here. Also slow or retime. If I shot in 60 frames, I could slow it down to 30. But yeah, this is a great video editing tool for me for something more casual, something on the go, especially if I don't want to bring a bigger, more clunky device. And the fact that I can do it all here and also import really high resolution video from my Sony cameras is fantastic. Last up here in my demo, I want to also talk about just the iPad being sort of a jack of all trades. You can sort of think of ways to use it that you may not have thought about. And I like to use Notability specifically for not just schoolwork, but also as sort of a handwriting animation sort of device. And I'll explain how I do that here. So I will screen record or screenshot Notability. So I can, like, for example, here, write NYC, and I can't screen record while I'm in Zoom. But like pretend I could screen record that. And then if I go back into LumaFusion, what I can do here is I can go into my photo library here, and then I can drag this in. Let me see if I can find it. I was doing a photo shoot with the Mac Studio, so that's what that is, by the way.
Humble brag.
Hey guys, I was just doing a
shoot with the Mac Studio.
So see, I told you. Anyway, so we can crop this here. I can go back to that linked folder here just to sort of go back to the clips. But as you can see, I have this screen recording here from Notability. I can crop that, and it's like you can see like the UI. So I have to get rid of that. So I'll start it where the NYC starts to be drawn. I can also crop the ending as well. And not only that, I can go further and crop out the UI. So I will do that here. So we go here, we can go to crop, and then we can just, isolate the NYC. And then if you're a more advanced video editor, you might know about blending modes. So I can go to the blending mode and I can choose screen. And now if I do that, I got to scroll down. There we go. Now, if I do that and I play this back, now you have this, like animated text. And I'm not going to lie, I don't know how to do this in After Effects. I don't have a Final Cut
right?
or LumaFusion plugin for this. So, the fact that I can do that here and just drop it in like so that easy, whether it's directly on my iPad or another device through AirDrop, it's so cool. And this is, sort of been a nice touch in my content that I post on YouTube. And that is my spiel. That is my shtick here. I hope that you enjoyed.
So when I watch, when I was a student, we had laptops and we had computers and we had pen and paper. Okay. Even when you were talking like the first two things about your notes, I'm like, dude, this is like a student from the freaking future. And see, because I'm removed from school and academia, and so it's like when I see that, it reminds me, for example, like when you turn back the hands of time. We used to do like first person shooters, and it was like Quake, and it was Counter-Strike. And now kids are doing like Fortnite, where you're building while you're firing and defending. And I just feel like your generation, and it's so exciting. You have these tools and your brains are literally firing in different ways and different levels because you have access to the stuff. And I'm like, damn, what if I had an iPad when I was in college? You know, I mean, that's so it's just like kind of it reminds me how crazy, you know, because I don't use my iPad that way, just how crazy it is and how it can be used. And that's awesome. You know, I did want to mention you and I had talked about offline. I didn't know what you were going to show me, but LumaFusion has a feature coming up specifically with the M1 where I've done these. I don't know if you've seen them. I'm not asking you to watch them, but I do like these kind of corny music videos that celebrate like when a really brand new Apple product comes out. So like when the MacBook Pro came out, I did a video called Return of the Mac, and it's exactly what you think it is, but LumaFusion allows you to take like 12 layers of video specifically for things like a music video or for interviews like this, stack them on top, and then edit it kind of like production real time, where you can just click on which video feed you want. And I'm just like, I mean, that's something that you know, this is not an ad because I will actually use that and I want to try and use it, that you could do on a freaking tablet. Like insane. So no,
I absolutely
thank you, man.
agree. Yeah, and
Go ahead.
real quick, I've had experience doing that, you know, with M1 devices. You can absolutely do that. Some of my workflow used to involve, you know, sort of interacting with the product and also switching to my head-on camera. So I've done it with the hardware, and the fact that it's an iPad Air is really exciting. And yeah, like Katie said, it's in the hands of more people, so they can, you know, create crazier stuff without worrying about, you know, running into like the glass ceiling of performance. There's so much headroom now, and I think double the RAM too. So very, very good stuff.
Man, okay, that's awesome. No, we'll chime back in with you a little later. But if you also like, if you see something when we showcase what Abigail is going to do, and you just want to like say, "Damn, like that's crazy," just say it out loud. It's okay.
Oh, I will.
Katie, I wanted to kind of come back to you because after we see that demo, you know, I said earlier like the iPad Air is the perfect iPad. You know, it's nearly perfect. But when you guys are coming up with these products, do you have a segment, or based on data that you have, maybe like who are you guys trying to target the iPad Air for specifically? And I know, of course, the answer is everyone, but maybe there's something more nuanced about how you guys are approaching the iPad Air versus, you know, your other products like a Pro. Like how, you know, where does this fit into how Apple is thinking? I guess that's what I'm trying to tap into.
Yeah, absolutely. So when we think about the iPad Air, right, this is for folks who are stepping up from the entry, who want to do even more. And I touched on this a little bit earlier. You know, these are folks who are being really creative, really productive. It's people like content creators, like the people on this call, right? College students, also like Noah, you know, gamers. These are people whose expectation of performance is really at the highest level, right? They're using advanced apps. Maybe it's not their career. Maybe they're not building a commercial, but there are people who where it's their hobby, it's their passion. So when we were thinking about the feature set that we wanted to bring to iPad Air, we really focused this time around on enabling all these different workflows for people who choose that device.
Very cool. Okay, so can I ask you a question, Katie? I'm just curious. Like, this is always fun, and there is no wrong answer here. Okay, this is not a gotcha. But if you personally were looking at an iPad today, I know we're talking about iPad Air. I mean, what would you pick for yourself, honestly?
For myself, I mean,
yeah.
I love the iPad Air. Personally, just the way that I use iPad, it's my productivity device. I use it because it is so portable. And I love the accessories that you're able to use with the iPad Air, that Apple Pencil 2nd generation, and the incredible Magic Keyboard. That's what I use every single day. It's what I take to meetings with me. It's what I bring when I want to go work remotely from a coffee shop. It's an incredible device. Obviously, the iPad Pro continues to deliver our most advanced technologies on iPad, right? And I, you know, of course, I pick up my 12.9-inch iPad Pro on the regular as well. But for me personally, the iPad Air is really just the perfect device. And I'm a sucker for color. So like, I love the new colors that we brought.
Which color is your favorite personally?
I have to go with the blue.
Oh, blue.
The new blue, it's so gorgeous. I will say on Mini, I love the purple. I really do. But this new blue, I think the team really just nailed it with this one. I think it's so beautiful in person.
Blue, you're my boy. Hey Noah, what you're my boy. Noah, what's your favorite color?
You can never go wrong with like Starlight or Silver or Black, but the blue is gorgeous. When I unboxed it, I made sure to sort of make that known, and I actually compared it to the Air 4, and that was a nice sort of silvery blue. But yeah, this year it's a lot more saturated and a lot more
Yeah.
fun. I really like I mean, if I'm being honest, I like the colors more this year than last year. But the purple is really nice too. I loved it with the mini. But yeah, I'm really happy that I got a blue iPad. It's just gorgeous.
Okay, Abigail, the color for you, which one is like your jam?
Oh, I mean, so personally, my favorite color of all time is blue. So the blue iPad works perfectly with that. I think, yeah, like I'll go with blue anytime. I see it and I want it.
So are we saying the score here is like 1 purple, like I purple you, and 3 blues? Is that what we're saying here today?
Yeah.
Sounds like it.
Wow. I mean, I'm wearing blue, just so you know, we got to keep on theme and everything. So, okay, Abigail, you know what? I'd love for you to kind of maybe introduce yourself, people that might not be familiar with your work, and also you as a digital artist and a creator, kind of what you do and how you came, like kind of your journey of how you came to this spot as well.
Yeah, so I have always loved art since I was a little kid. Always participated in my art classes as much as I could, and I've just been really into like creating things in general since I was young. I did ballet when I was little, and that was another form of expressing myself, and a lot of photography. And I mean, up until recently, I was a professional ballet dancer, and now
Wow.
then when
Oh,
quarantine
wow.
hit, yeah, we were laid off for quite a while, and I had nothing to do. I went through like a home renovation. I adopted a cat. I did all this stuff, and at some point, I was just like, I need something else. Like, I need something that is going to give me some motivation, make me feel like I'm growing, while I'm just sitting at home. And so I already had an iPad, but it was an old generation, and I was like, the Apple Pencil had come out a few years past, and I saw how amazing it worked with the iPad, and I knew I wanted it. So I was like, with all my unemployment money, I was like, I'm gonna get an iPad, and I got
Love
an Apple
this.
Pencil with it, and I fell in love with the world of digital art. I spent like so many hours just watching videos, learning from people, and then also teaching myself. And in January of 2021, I started, posting stuff on social media and just, for fun and not expecting anything out of it. And it kind of blew up in my face and in a good way. And it was so amazing. And I realized how much I really loved this world. And I decided that, I retired as a professional ballet dancer and started doing more creating digital content online as a full-time job. And so today, I'm going to show you how I do that on the iPad Air with my favorite app, the one I use all the time, Procreate.
Hey,
So to
Abigail,
get,
before you start
yeah,
real quick,
go
I
ahead.
want to say that story is amazing to hear. We had no idea about this. I saw Noah and Katie nod their head of like your journey, even hearing both of your stories as creators saying like, this is something that I wanted to try out, that I love to do. And now you guys are, not only getting recognition and success and personal fulfillment, but look, we're on a freaking Apple stream together, just hanging out, talking about this stuff. So I just want to say congratulations to you two, and just to celebrate like the fact that I think innately we all want to create things, but even when I talk about old school generation, new school generation, the tools weren't necessarily out there for us to do this. And I just see you two people like basically saying, yeah, I want to give this a try. This is a tool. I don't know what's going to happen, but I want to do it. I want to have fun. I want to find a passion, and it's been able to find that for you. So I just want to say like, thank you for sharing both your stories. Just really incredible. And I really appreciate what you guys do. And now I want you to show off, what you got with your digital art.
Well, thank you so much. It's an honor to be here, and I feel kind of out of my depth because all of you are very like, you're the tech people that I'll watch and I'll see on YouTube, and it's crazy that I'm here on a call with all of you. So thank you so much.
You are enough. This is what I always say to everyone. You are enough. So there is no, what, let's be honest. I've seen people with big numbers. They aren't the nicest people, right? So like you are you, and that's what makes you unique. And I want you to never feel like, oh, oh, these other YouTubers. No, never feel that way. Like, you're here because you have something that I can never do, and I want to learn from you. So I think that we all can like kind of share experiences that way. So I just want to say, like, I know you're badass, but I want to let you know that you're badass.
Well, thank you so much. Right back at y'all.
Yeah.
So today I'm going to be using the app Procreate, and I use this in everything I do. So I have stuff obviously for Instagram, my Etsy shop. I make fonts, I do brushes, patterns, and all my social media posts will be made on Procreate. But the thing we're going to do today is I'm going to show you a tutorial from beginning to end. And I'm just going to grab my screen size canvas right here. And over in my color palette, I'm going to select a color palette I made for this demo. And we're going to start by grabbing
a lot of blues in there. Notice a lot of blues in there.
I know. I specifically picked it out so it can match my iPad, even though you can't see the back. You gotta feel it. So we're gonna grab this like robin's egg blue and just drop it on a layer right here. So you can see that whole layer is filled up. And then what I'm gonna do is I do a lot of lettering and typography. So I am going to add some text right here, and you can't see it because it's the same color. It'll automatically select the last color I had. So I'm just gonna double tap up here in the white area of that, and it'll automatically go to a perfect white. And then grabbing my text again, I'm going to type a word, and let's just do the word new because the iPad Air is new and we love new. And then I'm going to double tap this text again to select it all. And I'm just going to change the style of this font. So I'm going to change it to light. And then we're going to tap the move tool and just make this text a little bit bigger, more visible. And then I have snapping turned on down here at the bottom that you can see. And that just means when I am moving my text around, it'll automatically center this where you can see the two yellow lines. And now on top of here, I am going to be adding some hand lettering. And with that, I'm going to be using, let's see, I have a bunch of brushes that I've made, but I just made these 3D brushes in the brush library in Procreate, which is amazing. And the engine for this brush studio is awesome, and it's really easy with the iPad Air and the M1 chip. Like, it works like a dream. So I'm going to select this a little bit more turquoise blue, and I'm going to just show you how this brush works. If I use light pressure, it's a really small thin line, but the more I press with the Apple Pencil, it becomes thicker. So it's really pressure sensitive, and it responds so well to the Apple Pencil. So up here, we're just going to hand letter the same word. So the word new, and I'm just going to write with my Apple Pencil. And for each letter, I'm going to add a new layer. So I'll just add a layer for the E and the W and draw on top of that. And then
is this like the Abigail brush? This is a brush you made, right?
Yes.
This is your brush, right? So we're gonna call this Abigail brush. Okay, dope.
Oh, I love it. And actually it's called the dark silk. I have like a lot of them, and like each of them are a little bit different in properties. So that's something that was so cool that I was able to do in the iPad, just be able to kind of feel like it was like material study, and all of these different brushes were able to be used, and they all work really well. And there's like virtually no lag with the Apple Pencil. So that was great. And so because all of these letters are on separate layers, I can move them individually. So if I want this E to be a little bit higher up or lower down, and same thing with this W, I might want to move it over to the right just a little bit. And now I'm just going to combine these 3 layers to make them into one. And I just did that by pinching my fingers together. That way I can apply a layer on top of it, and it can be applied to all those letters at the same time. So one of the things about Procreate that is really nice is that you can do gradients like super easy, super fast. And so I'm just going to use a basic brush for this. This one is my Sadie brush. I named it after my cat that I adopted in quarantine. So I'm gonna like make this size really big. And what's cool is like this brush can be like, it can encompass the entire screen, but I'm gonna make it just a bit smaller. And then I'm just going to draw some diagonal lines with each color. Let's see. So we're just going to do pretty quickly right there, all of that. And so now you can see the lines are pretty stark against everything, but I want to make them blend into each other. So I'm going to tap Gaussian blur, and by sliding to the right with my Apple Pencil, I can make it super blurred or just a little bit less. So I'm going to go at like 32%. That's my favorite number. And then I'm going to apply this as the clipping mask to the lettering I have below. And so now you can see it's only on those lettering letters, but we don't see all that texture I had before. So by changing the blend mode here, I'm going to change that to overlay, all of that depth comes back. So now we have, you know, some text and some lettering, but I want to make this even more interesting. And I want to intertwine these. So this is where I'm going to start using layer masks. So
this
if I
is where you're going to start showing off more, basically. I'm like, this
a little
is already
bit,
awesome.
just a little.
Show it.
We're going to add a mask, and it will only be applied to this lettering here. And what a mask does, it will hide or reveal based on the gray tone you use. So if I use black, it'll hide whatever I paint on here. So if I'm using black, I just erase that E, but because it's a layer mask, I didn't actually erase it and it's still there. So with that being said, I'm going to tap on my text layer and I'm going to tap it again. So a menu pops up and we're going to tap select. So now that those texts, the font right there is selected, and I'm going to go back up to my layer mask above my lettering and tap fill layer. So now it looks like the text is above, even though my lettering is actually the layer above that. And then I'm just going to reveal where this lettering is to make it look a little bit more like they are kind of going in between each other. So maybe over here, I'm going to make this brush size a little bit smaller and then just show a little bit right there, maybe some right here.
Yeah.
And then maybe just that tip right there. And then over here, let's do all of this right there and leave this behind. And then actually I'm gonna switch back to black because that's gonna hide. So I want to, actually that looks fine. I'm not gonna be worried about that right now.
The artist in you, the OCD person's like, I gotta get, no, okay, we're doing the demo.
I saw the one pixel and I was like,
I know, I saw it.
So I'll leave that right there. And maybe I'll do this one too. And so now the lettering and the text are combined. And yeah, so I mean, you know, you can always add a bunch of shadows. I'm a shadow person. I'll add as many as I can in there. But for right now, I think that's a pretty good example of how I really love using it. And, you know, it's all possible because of the app Procreate. And, you know, Procreate is only available on the iPad. And it works so well with how the technology of the Apple Pencil and the app and the iPad itself, they just all combine and work super well together.
I think it's amazing to see this because, you know, I do Photoshop and I haven't caught on. I haven't, you know, sometimes what I always appreciate is that our brains function differently based on like the tools that we had available to us. And so it's been hard for me to embrace using Photoshop on the Apple Pencil, even though I have, and I've learned, I'm like, oh, this is cool, but I'm so comfortable with like, but I do it on, you know, my computer. And I just love how comfortable, quite honestly, more comfortable you are using an Apple Pencil than a mouse, you know, to do all this. And specifically with your lettering, right? Like do you feel like it would be weird to use a mouse and a desktop like versus an iPad for you because of just how you're so proficient now with this?
Oh yeah, like I mean, I do a little bit of you know, Photoshop and Adobe Illustrator on my laptop here, but I think, you know, the Apple Pencil, it just feels like you're writing. It's like you're taught that in school. That's something that it's super natural, and it just makes everything feel like it's real time. I'm seeing it happen. I'm watching myself draw it, and it's actually appearing on the screen, which is like, it blows my mind. I don't even know how it works. But I'll let it happen and it works.
Me too. I was going to say, I'm with Brian more on like the traditional sort of Photoshop workflow, and watching you do that and going in and out and all, I was just like, that would have taken me like an hour in Photoshop and
Well,
maybe it
same
would
goes
not
for
have
your
worked. So the
New York
fact that
City
you
one.
just, I'm sorry. Oh
The
yeah,
same
sure.
goes for your New York City video. Like I was just like, when you did that, I was like, I would have never thought of that. Like that's
blending
animation
modes.
right there within video.
Yeah,
Honestly, both
it's
of your workflows were so incredible to watch. I have to say, working on these products and putting them out into the world, it's like a really exciting day when we announce a new iPad, right? We get to introduce this thing that we've been working on for years to the world. But it's things like this, to be honest, when I see how people are using it and what they're able to do. Abigail, I could never do the hand lettering that you do. And Noah, that video,
me neither.
how quickly you were able to get that overlay over that video, that was insane. So getting to see the workflows, that's honestly the best part of my job, is getting just how people are using the devices. So thank you so much for sharing. That was just so awesome to see.
Yeah, I mean,
Thank
you
you.
could
Thank you.
tell 10 people to do the same task, and I feel like you'd see 7 or 8 different ways to do it because of how all of our brains work. And so that's why, I think what we saw, you showed nuggets to people who literally don't think of using their iPads that way, to use that way. That was the whole point. I'm like, let's get some creators in here to really showcase like the stuff, so that I just want to be wowed, which I was, and I think that people at home will be wowed as well. So I want to say thank you, Abigail and Noah, for showing all that cool stuff up. Katie, I do have a question, because my brain works this way. I think all of our brains work this way. You put an M1 in the iPad Air, and I know I'm not asking you to tell me any features, but I asked about, what people have told you about the iPad Air. I mean, where does something like the Pro go after you put an M1? I know there's so many current differentiating features, but are people asking you any specific things about the Air that you're thinking, oh, okay, maybe we'll touch on that? What is your thinking about that product in comparison to the iPad Air?
Absolutely. I mean, of course, we were thrilled to bring the M1 chip, 5G cellular connectivity, that 12 megapixel ultra wide front camera with center stage. I don't think we've talked about that, but
Super
that's now
underrated.
across our
Super underrated.
it is the coolest feature, Brian. It, especially now, I mean, you and I, of course, we're connecting right now over video, and we just think it makes video calls even more intuitive, more natural. And that's across the entire iPad lineup now, including, our most affordable iPad, the iPad 9th generation. But you asked about iPad Pro. And in addition to all these features, of course, that we brought to iPad Air, iPad Pro continues to feature the most advanced technologies that we offer on iPad. So that, of course, is going to include that liquid retina display with ProMotion. ProMotion is a feature that we know is super important to folks like gamers, people who are using Apple Pencil. It's going to feature Thunderbolt connectivity, 5 studio quality mics, 4 speaker audio, that Pro camera system on the back with LiDAR, True Tone flash, and a 10 megapixel ultra wide front camera. So that's just going to enable really next level immersive AR experiences. It also, of course, comes with storage up to 2 terabytes. So for those people where on-device storage is important to them, those folks with creative workflows where they really need that, we're going to be able to enable those workflows on iPad Pro. So it's going to continue to be the ultimate iPad experience for people who want the most powerful device they can get in an incredibly thin and light device like the iPad.
I'm still, my brain says, what are you guys going to do with the iPad Pro? Like after I see what you did with the iPad Air, I mean, I don't know, Noah and Abigail, like where are your brains at with this, like with what the iPad Air has to offer? Like, how do you feel about that whole, like, are you kind of curious, like what can you really do next with other products?
I mean, so I always look at, products from like a consumer. Like I'm just a general consumer, right? I don't do, all the tech yet. But I look at it and I say, how is it gonna benefit, what I'm doing already? And I think that's the big thing for me. Like, it's so accessible. Like, I love that this iPad Air, it's, more affordable, but it still gives you the same bang for your buck. And like, that was my whole thing with art. Like, I want art to be accessible to everyone. And so I try to make artwork and tutorials that will be, that someone can follow and feel like they can do it as well. And I feel like with this iPad, then they'll have that access to the same kind of thing that I'm doing. And I think that was a big draw to this iPad Air, is that you have the M1 chip, but still in a nice light portable body of great hardware.
I think you make a great point there, Abigail, because we talk about, accessibility for people from all different socioeconomic like levels. Like, this starts at $599. In the past, it necessarily, with the power that it has, like giving these tools to people, young people, old people, they can do things that it's not the $7.99, $9.99 price point. And so I think, even just being a creator, YouTube has given us the ability to kind of democratize content and make it more accessible for us, therefore making it more accessible to people. And I do feel like these tools, do the same thing for us. So like you said, like you can do everything. You can literally, there's people that maybe have bought the iPad Pro and they aren't making the best type of work, and you're doing equal or better work than those people. So it's about the person, it's about the tool. You don't always need, just to be like, I got the Pro. No, that's not what it's all about. It's about just your skills and the tools you have and how you use it. So that was a great point that you talked about accessibility. Hey, Noah, what is your thinking about all these devices and how it's kind of, transformed things for you?
Yeah, sure. I first got into the iPad line, I think with the Air 2 back in the day. But then I bought my first iPad. I scraped money together to get the iPad Pro. But yeah, to answer your question, obviously I'm looking forward to seeing what is new with the future generations of iPad Pro. But with the M1 and the iPad Air, yeah, it just seems like, once again, that sort of high power has been democratized and just brought to more people. So that's sort of where I'm at. I'm glad that more people have access to this power. You're talking about socioeconomic situations, the fact that you can do so much with a device that's a great value, not, $800 plus is fantastic. So yeah, I would say I'm happy that the sort of more regular consumer or prosumer has more power at their fingertips. And of course, as a pro or whatever I am, of course, I'm looking forward to what's coming in the future. Always looking for, that's my job. So that's where I'm at with all of this.
Yep.
And
that's so great.
I think when we think about the whole iPad line, this is really undeniably our most powerful line of iPads that we've ever had, right? And when we think about these devices, it's really about making sure that when you walk into an Apple store, there really is an iPad for everyone, right? Mm-hmm. From the iPad 9th generation, our most affordable offering, still packs a punch with that A13 chip, incredible display, compatibility with Apple Pencil, to this new iPad Air with M1. Like you all said, we're so excited to bring the M1 to more folks. And then, of course, our most advanced technologies on iPad Pro. And of course, we can't forget about iPad Mini with its super portable form factor. So we just feel like now more than ever, there just is an iPad for everyone. And that's what we're so excited about.
Katie, I'm not going to grill you about the iPad Pro anymore, because that's, everything I'll ask you, like, hey, Brian, just wait and see. We'll let you know later. I will say, as a user, a special request, can we get a purple iPad Pro? Can we bring a little flavor to the Pro line? Just like give me some color. I'm just going to, I'm talking directly to an iPad product marketing manager. Noah and Abigail, feel free to throw any requests her way right now. But that is I'm just putting my hands together, and we'll see what other specs and, new bells and whistles you throw at us, whether it's hardware or software. But I had to say it. I just had a purple iPad Pro. I know there's other people out there like, yes, Brian, like the two of us are like, yes.
As far as color, like, my question, I think, like, I just have so many questions about, like, from like the behind the scenes, and I'm sure, there's things you can't answer, but like, what inspires you about colors? Like, how do you decide, and, how many colors, and, which colors to pick?
No, totally. This is a great question. And like, what's really cool is that the team works hard to pick out kind of like just the right palette that they think is going to connect with our users, right? So that when you look at the options, you pick a color and you feel like that kind of like expresses you. Like, clearly Brian is a purple guy, right? Like he identifies with that and is like, it's like, I want purple on all my devices, right? So you can kind of express your personal style. And the team is so skilled. We're like really fortunate to have a team that is so good at that. And honestly, that's why we're so excited about this new palette on iPad Air. We feel like they really just knocked it out of the park with this one. And everybody has a favorite. People look at it and it's like, oh, it's this one for me. And it's just really cool to see how that's resonating with folks.
Hey, Noah, you want to throw a question out at Katie before we go? This is your chance.
Oh, man.
This doesn't happen often.
Let me think here. I have enough on my mind covering all these Apple products as it is. So I'm going to just remain in the moment and just wait to see what you guys throw at us. I'm going to be present. It's hard, okay, but I'm trying.
Okay, Katie, this is by no means, don't use this in your marketing material. But when I did see the new batch of colors, it really felt like tapping into Easter. And I did call the color lineup East Air, like East Air. Don't. Yeah, that's why you guys are on the team and I'm not. I'm just letting you, I just had to let that out and let you know. Okay, East Air. All right, I think that's a good way. I think that's a good way. I think we should wrap this up, everybody. Hey, Katie, Noah, Abigail, thank you so much for being here. I thought this was really fun and unique and something different. And I think that people that are watching and have stayed all the way through definitely get some great takeaways from this. But I just want to say thank you for your time. I hope we can do this again. I guess I'll know in the future, Kate. You're like, that Brian character. I don't know about that. I don't know.
No, we love coming. We love coming on your podcast, Brian. Thanks for having us.
All right. Thanks, everybody. Take care, continued success, and we'll see you on the next one. All right. Bye, guys.
Thank you.
See ya.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you.